All right, everybody, today we are going to be comparing and ordering decimals. So on Friday, I know that we compared decimals. We did it with some of the base 10 blocks. Today, what we're going to do is do it without the base 10 blocks. So if we had, let's say 0.36 or 36 hundredths, right? And let's say we had 0.54 or 54 hundredths, right? So we're going to use our math term. So this is 54 hundredths, 36 hundredths. So if we look at this, remember when you're comparing any number, you're going to be looking at the highest place value. So 0, they're the same. That doesn't help us. We're going to go to the tenths place, 3 and 5. So the 5 is going to be the largest, and that makes it our larger number. So as we're looking at this, comparing numbers is going to be, just two numbers. When we order numbers, we're going to have a few more numbers that we're going to have to order around. So let's do a couple more comparing just as a warm-up, and then we'll go from there. So if I had 7 tenths, and then I had 9 tenths, if we look at this, our zeros are the same. We go to the tenths place. The 9 is larger than the 7. So again, this one is going to be larger. If I have if we look at this number, this 9 is large, and if we the hundredths, right, they're both 9s. But that's not how we would compare them, right? We would go from our largest place value over. So our largest place values are 1s. They're both 0. The 1 and the 0, which would make this one larger. Okay, so the temptation a lot of times is to look at that last number. That's not going to be what you're going to want to look at. Remember, you're always going to go largest place value over. Okay, on to comparing decimals. So comparing decimals, if we have more than one decimal, we're going to want to take it kind of clump it out into twos. So let's say I have 25 hundredths. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, and sometimes what I do is have 3 blanks so I know where we're going to go. We're going to go least to greatest, so smallest to largest. So if we look at these, we're going to go 0, 0, 0, right? They're all the same. And then I look at the next group, 2, 2, and 1 in our tenths place. So this one's going to be the smallest. Now with 3, it's not as important to do this, but sometimes what I do is I put a little check above it or cross it out just to show me that I've used it already and to know that I don't need to compare it anymore. So this next one, I've got 0.2 in both places. Now, when that happens, so I've got a 2 in both tenths places. So what I'm going to want to do is put a 0 here to help me compare. So remember that 0 doesn't change your value at all. So I'm just going to have my 0 there. And that's going to help me as I move to my hundredths place, 5 and 0. So this 5 is going to make this number larger. So that's going to go in our largest place. And then my next one is the 2 tenths that we started with. Okay, so that is in order from least to greatest. Let's do one more. Okay, let's do okay. Now with this one, they are all of them have the number 4 in them, right? So if we look at this, they're in different places. So this is where our place value really comes in handy. If we look at the ones place, 0, 0, 4. So this is going to be your largest. Let me get my blanks out here. 4.0, right? And then if I look at the next one, 0, 0, and then 0 and 4. So my 4 is my next largest. So 4 tenths. I used both of those. And now I'm down to 4 hundredths. So that would be how we'd order that one. Okay, now in your classwork today, there are part of it that part of the paper that part of your classwork is just comparing decimals, just like we did at the beginning, just 2 decimals, largest, smaller. You're going to use your alligators, your greater than, less than, or equal to. And then there are 5 problems that are ordering least to greatest, just like we just practiced. And then at the bottom, there is a riddle. You know how I love riddles. This one has a lot of numbers in it. So you're going to have to order all of them from least to greatest. Now, one tip that I have for you, if we have, and this gets us a preview into what we're doing later. If we have the number, if we have this number, when we say this number out loud, it would be 2/10, right? Which is the same as the fraction 2/10. Okay, so if you were to see this fraction, you could write it as this number. Okay, another one, let's say I have this decimal. If I have this decimal, 35 hundredths would be written this way, 35 hundredths. Okay, so there are some conversions that you need to do like this. So they'll give you this fraction number, and you have to change it into a decimal. So let's practice doing that. Let's say I have 27 hundredths, the way that I would write that decimal number, 27 hundredths, right? So this will help you as you're converting some of these numbers. Oh no, never mind. I was thinking they threw percents in there. They don't throw percents in there. So these conversions will help you to order them. And what I will give you the helpful handy hint of, when you see these fractions, what I would do is, for example, there is, and I'll give you the answer to one of them, letter G. Okay, so it has on the top, and then G, right? Because there's a long line of these lovely numbers, okay? So, and then next to it is actually A, and it's also a fraction. Okay, so let's say we're doing G. What I would recommend doing is writing the conversion or the decimal equivalent either on the top or the bottom, just so you have it in your brain as you're going through with the other ones. So this one is 25 hundredths. The way we would write this as a decimal is 25 hundredths, right? So use that to help you convert, and don't be afraid to do a little side math. Write your note to yourself up here. So as you're converting those, you can make it happen. Okay. So the way that the riddle works is that if you order them from least to greatest, then it'll answer the riddle. The riddle is, what is green inside, white outside, and hops? Okay, so that is your riddle today. So when you order all the decimals, then it will give you the answer to that riddle. All right, everybody. Good luck in your classwork. So what you're going to do now is work on your classwork. When you're done with that, please check your answer, take a picture, and then make a menu choice. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.